Welcome to the Holly Furtick YouTube channel. I wanted to give you a little sneak peek at something that we're doing at Elevation. It's a new mini-series with our small groups called Highlights, where I get together with a friend to discuss my husband's sermon from that week. We will talk in depth about our favorite highlights and discuss practical ways that we can apply them to our lives. Now, if you haven't seen the sermon from this week, go watch that on the Elevation Church YouTube channel. I'll put the link for you below so that you find the right one. Then you come back here. For now, here's this week's highlights.
Now, if you take your hands and just put them like this, just like that, I think what the Lord wants us to take away from this message that Holly can cover in highlights, hand me my tight shot, please, is you need to be open-handed with the plan. Open-handed with the plan, but keep a firm grip on the purpose. Open-handed with the plan, but I'm certain about the purpose. I know God wants to get glory out of my life. I know He wants to get glory out of my life. I know God wants to fill this temple with glory. I know God wants to work all things together for good.
Okay, I have a confession.
Okay.
So I was driving to work this morning and I was listening to the sermon and I was so into what Pastor Stephen was saying about this point that I got off on the wrong exit. And because when I get off to the exit to come to here to our offices, if I go one way, I go to my kids' school. And if I go the other way, I come here to our offices. And I was so into it and I was just thinking about just the idea of like not having a tight grip on my plans.
That's right.
I realized that I was going the wrong way. I just thought that was so funny, but God was really speaking to me because I was thinking about how, and I want you guys to share this in the comments too. What plans do you need to let go of so that you can hold on to God's purpose? And I was just thinking about just one of the things. There's so many plans that I have.
For sure.
And you know, Jeremiah says, "For I know the plans I have for you," declares the Lord. They're the plans that God has for me,
right?
Not necessarily the plans that I have for me.
That's right.
And I was thinking about just parenting in general. And one of the hardest lessons that I have had to learn in parenting is letting go of my plans for my kids. And holding on to God's purpose for them. It's so hard as a parent when you're praying for your kids. You want to pray like really specific things for them. But when those specific things don't happen, and these things happen in our own lives too, it's just easier for me to talk about my kids than it is for me to talk about myself. But when those things don't happen, you can begin to think God's not listening.
Right.
Or maybe I've done something wrong. God's not answering my prayers. And you start to have all of these fears and doubts and questions. And one of the things that God has just been teaching me over and over again, I feel like I'm in like the remedial class of letting go of my plans, is, and just to be like kind of specific, I just had this idea that my kids, so I grew up, my mom was a piano teacher, I took piano lessons, but I didn't like practicing, and so I never really became a piano player. And then I married a man who plays the guitar, and he sings, and he writes music, and I was like, this is in my kids. And my kids are gonna be songwriters and worship leaders. And I just had this like vision for my children. Does anybody have a vision for your children out there? Okay, so we get these ideas for our kids, right? I just want you to know, I've taken beginner piano 4 times if you count the time that I took it, and then the time that Elijah took it, and the time that Graham took it, and the time that Abby took it, because I started my kids in piano when they could barely read. So I would have to sit down with them and like read the directions, because you know the directions will be like clap the rhythm with your hands first. So I'd have to be like, okay, let's clap the rhythm with our hands first. Okay, now play the rhythm with your right hand. Now play the rhythm. So I have done beginner piano 4 times.
Okay.
And I just want you to know that I don't play the piano. And I'm not going to say that none of my kids play the piano, but none of my kids are, at the moment, I'm not sure that they're on track for my vision for their life.
Sure.
And God had to really just strip that away from me and say, the purpose Your plan is so specific.
Right.
Let go of your plan. And what is my purpose for your child's
Right.
life? I'm like, okay, God, I want them to love you. I want them to be a leader. I want them to know your word. I want them
Right.
to be a worshiper, not a worship leader. I want them to be
Yeah.
a worshiper. I want them to
Right.
have a relationship with you. I want them to be responsible. Like all of these things that we know are God's purposes for us are the things that we have to really hold on to.
Right.
And we let go of the dream, the idea,
That's right.
the vision
That's right.
that we have for them.
I hope that was helpful for you. It's so important to talk about what God is speaking to you, to let the seed of His word get planted in the soil of your heart. If you want to hear the full conversation and participate as well, join an Elevation e-group. We have groups that meet in person and online, literally all over the world, and we would love to have you. To learn more, go to elevationchurch.cc and comment below. Let me know what some of your highlights were from this week's message. Thanks for joining me. Make sure you like and subscribe so that you'll get notified when next week's sermon discussion is available. And I'll see you back here next week.